You know,
maybe the riders falls half inch.
yeah. So, any questions so far? All right. So now we've got the clapper reset. Okay, it's sitting there just like that, and that spring is not strong enough to hold that clapper down when we put water pressure underneath the clapper. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a helper, and our helper is this pushrod chamber, and all of our DDX and EX valves have the pushrod chambers. And as you're looking at the valve, like you guys are, on the left-hand side of the valve body is our pushrod chamber. And I'm going to take a minute and go to the right-hand side of the valve. And when you look at the DDX systems, all right, the alarm trim on the right-hand side, whether it's the actual alarm line, which is the upper line here, or the alarm test line, which is the lower line, is all the same on any of the systems that we build. And we want to, we've got actually some valve posters for our DDX valves too. If you guys would be interested in one or four of them, it doesn't matter. Just to remind Michael to grab them for you if you'd like them. But that's all the same on any of the valve trims. So we build low pressure dry systems, deluge systems, and pre-action systems. Different actuation methods. For honestly, it's a total of 10 different systems that we build with just this DDX platform. The alarm's all the same. The alarm trim on the right-hand side is all the same on the DDX system. The EX is a little bit different because we just changed that. We streamlined the trim a little bit, made it narrower, right? But on the left-hand side, it's all going to be the same too, with the pushrod chamber. All right, this pushrod chamber, basically, this is the internal components of the pushrod. All right, we've got a diaphragm assembly that makes a water seal between the pushrod chamber itself and the valve body. All right, then there's the pushrod, the spring that helps basically move the pushrod out of the valve body, and then the pushrod guide here. All right, you can see all these components here. But we're going to have pressurized air or water if the system is tripped inside the valve body. And you can see where my finger is, and on the cutaway you're going to see the cutaway diaphragm here. We're going to have a water supply, a separate water inlet into the pushrod chamber, okay? That's going to pressurize the pushrod chamber, and the water's going to come in through a restricted orifice on the inlet, and it's going to go out through on the DDX systems, it comes out the top side of the pushrod cap here, through a 1/2 inch pipe, unrestricted, all right? So that way, outside here where my hand is, on the back side of this bullhead T, we're going to have some sort of an actuation device. All right, the actuation device will determine what type of system we build. All right, if we just use like a pneumatic actuator, it's going to be a low pressure dry system. If we use an electric solenoid valve, it'll be deluge, single, double interlock pre-actions, or if we use a combination of that solenoid valve and a pneumatic actuator, it's going to be one of our double interlock trims, all right? And then we've got a double pneumatic actuator that we can put back here. Basically, that actuation device, or however we set it up, is going to allow water to flow through the pushrod chamber or to lock water pressure in the pushrod chamber. So when we close the actuation device, the pushrod chamber water supply doesn't have any place to go, and it fully pressurizes the pushrod chamber, and it takes that pushrod and pushes it into the valve body. So that pushrod actually butts up against that lever, and when we lock that or close that actuation device, that pushrod is not going to move anyplace because we've got the same water pressure that's pushing up on the bottom side of the clapper pushing on the pushrod chamber. So we take away any fear for a false trip because of a water hammer or pressure surge, because if it's pushing up on the bottom side of the clapper, it's pushing up just as hard, if not harder, because of the differential here. Surface area that is touching the lever compared to the surface area the water's holding, we have a very good mechanical advantage, okay? So we take away any fear from that. Now, the best part about that is we can do all those different systems, and with the low pressure dry systems, we talk about the low pressures, right? The advantages to that, when you start looking at putting 24 pounds of air pressure in your 60-pound water supply, compared to what we can do with the low pressure, we're looking at probably about half, on an average, half the air pressure. All right. So what that's going to mean for you is smaller air compressors that you're buying, right? And not so much for you guys out in the field. The air compressors you don't care because it's still an air compressor, right? But what it's going to do for you is if you've got to evacuate 24 pounds of air pressure versus 12 pounds of air pressure at 60 pounds of water pressure, which one do you think is going to go faster on your water delivery time?
Probably this one you got less air to get rid of.
That's right. That's right. Because that 60 pounds of water pressure coming into your system doesn't have to work near as hard to push 12 pounds of air out as it does 24 pounds of air out. So, you know, we can't guarantee you're going to speed up water delivery times because, you know, is your system nice and straight or is it a pretzel? You know? But it will help you. Okay? So, push rod chambers. You know, sprinkler operates, we lose air pressure. We've got that pneumatic actuator, which I'm going to grab right here. This is actually the bottom half of our pneumatic actuator. It's really pretty, right? Looks like a little spaceship when it's all put together. But you can see the water would flow into our push rod chamber and out the outlet into where my finger is here. And as long as there's no air pressure in the system holding this diaphragm over that water seat, that water pressure is locked in the push rod chamber, all right? Once the sprinkler operates, we lose air pressure. And this honestly is a miniature dry pipe valve with a very high differential, all right? When you start doing the math and you start looking at that 1/4 inch restricted orifice there, compared to the surface area that the air is pushing down on, some really good numbers. Doing the math on that, that's 17 to 1, honestly. So we can do the much lower pressures, but same principle. We lose enough air pressure, differential breaks in the actuator here, the diaphragm lifts off at sea, water pressure bleeds out of the push rod chamber. When we do that, water pressure, there's nothing holding that latch shut anymore, so the water pressure can push the clapper off the seat and trips it out. Okay? So, with the you know, DDX system, I'll call it, the most popular one we built, and you can still buy it today, but was that DDX LP. So we have this pretty red actuator sitting out here. All right. The downside to that is it was an expensive system because it's a Cadillac system. All right. Because you could take this low pressure dry system. You designed it, right? Which one of these guys sold it? He did. You sold it. You bought it.
Whatever.
You bought it. He designed it. I'll say you sold it. One of you guys
But
installed
wait,
it,
there's
right?
more.
Okay. Yep. All right, well then you get it all said and done, hand the keys to the owner, and he calls up and says, yeah, shoot, I changed my mind. I wanted a double interlock pre-action, I didn't want a dry system. The beauty of this DDX system,
You can do that.
you can leave the valve as is and change your actuation trim. Okay? You can charge the customer whatever you want, but from us, all you got to do is the new actuation trim. And you're probably going to have to buy a releasing panel depending on what kind of pre-action system you're going to put in, whatever. But that was the beauty of the DDX system, and it still is, okay? But what we did is built from this DDX platform just a dry valve. And that was, you know, I remember I swore at you earlier and I said that Tyco name. All right, well, they've got that valve called the DPV1. And it's a conventional differential valve, but it's got an external reset that you can punch with your elbow here, right? All right, well, we've got a Cadillac over here with an external reset. But if you can, you know, you can buy a Cadillac, or you know, we'll go over here to the Tyco guys and buy a Yugo, right?
Whoa!
Just threw them on the trailer, didn't
How's
I?
below the belt?
Tape.
Hey, the owners are reliable, would like me to say that.
You're on video, Scott.
I'm sure he's doing it right there in the shirt pocket.
It is.
Right?
Doing the
Scott,
job.
say that louder.
Come on.
He's the undercover boss.
Yeah. I may look like I'm a fitter.
That's got to be the best disguise. Because, you know, Reliable, we're a family-owned company. Have been for, the company started in 1918. So we're coming up on 100 years.
Wow.
The same family still owns the company. The third generation of the family is still running the company. And if you're Kevin Fee, holy boy, did you have a good makeup artist.
Yeah. Trimmed a little weight too.
Yeah, you did. You see him, huh?
I'm not saying another word.
You're busted, man. That's how we got the Reliable hat, huh?
You know my tricks.
You didn't know it, but he's here.
Oh my God. That's been good working with you, Mike. I won't. He'd be laughing. And he'd reprimand you. He'd give me 30 lashes tonight. No. But, so, DPV1. People want that external reset. Alright? but they wanted to pay the Yugo. They wanted to buy the Yugo instead of a Cadillac. So reliable compromise, and we did the EX valve. All right. Model D, Model E. This next letter in the alphabet, but the X is the external reset. All right. And we made this EX out of the DDX valve, and if you look at the body there, it'll actually say DDX. All right. But what's different is we took away that external actuator that you can take off and retrim it as a pre-action system if you needed to, or and we took away the pretty red parts. We took the internal components of that actuator and turned them 90 degrees and built them right into the end of the push rod chamber here. All right. By doing that, so it sits right here. By doing that, you can't change this EX valve into a pre-action system. All right. Now, if you got to change this EX into a pre-action system, now you got to come back to Michael and say, Michael, I need that whole new system. Okay. With us doing that, now they're allowing the sales guys. They lowered the price of the EX dry pipe valve compared to the DDX LP low pressure dry system. So now he can be competitive with that type of guy. Okay. So the EX has all the technology of this Cadillac over here, but now we're looking at a Buick. Okay, so a little bit of a step down, but with that step down, you get a little better pricing. So he's the pricing. That's honestly the best part about my job. I don't have to do any of that. So, any questions on how the EX or DDXs are going so far?
What do they sell most of?
Pardon me?
What do they sell most of?
For
The valves themselves.
after that we came out with the EX, the most popular system we built with the DDX was the DDX LP low pressure dry system. Okay. When we came out with the EX, DDX LP sales went like this, and EX went like this because it was a much more economical. It just made more sense for us to say, hey, you know what? We can save you some money. You order a DDX LP if you really want that, and you can still buy it today. But we'd be doing you a disservice if we didn't tell you about the EX if all you're looking for is a low pressure dry system.
The only reason to get the DDX LP would be if maybe
If you
we
wanted to
might
do a
convert it
conversion.
to a interlock system.
Yeah, right.
later.
Yeah, and you know we see that a lot. You know, I don't know if you guys have any around here, but you know, like Amazon or Google, or they're building all these just gigantic data centers across the country, and you know where there'll be 40 dry systems or double interlock pre-action systems in the end, but you know they're building a 200,000 square foot building and they're going to use 40,000 square feet of it. And the rest is shell space. Well, they've got a sprinkler the whole thing. So what they do is, as they grow, they convert all those dry systems then into double interlock pre-actions. Well, they're doing it with our DDX LPs on the shell spaces and DDX double interlock pre-actions in the finish spaces. But they're doing it with the DDX LPs, so all they have to do is change the actuation methodology. Because dry system or double interlock pre-action, you got the same rules apply for sloping the pipe back to the main drain and low points and things like that. The only thing they have to add then is their detection for the pre-action and change the actuation method out, and they've got a double interlock pre-action. So there's a lot of, I know there's one project that I got to walk through and help do some owner training on. 200 systems in the whole facility. Just amazing. Just amazing. So, all right. So, to trip the system, with the low pressure dries, we're just going to trip it here. And, we trip it. That's the nice thing about good water pressure like you guys got here. It makes big bangs. And that milking machine that's going on now after the system trip, that's actually the air in the water. You've got air pressure on one side of the actuator diaphragm, water pressure pushing on the other side. Right now they're fighting. All right? We shut the water supply pressure off and the deep pressure is, and the milking machine goes away. Okay? I can open up the main drain here and we'll just let the system drain down.
So the actuator.
So, totally mechanical systems, right? Wets and dries. You go into the pre-action.